Okay, so what we're talking about today is going to be me turning my tablet on so that I can actually write, is writing linear equations. That looks awful, but I said it so you know what it says. Mostly, I'm going to take you from the 2-point version, like given any 2 points, how can we write the equation of the line? And I know you guys know standard form. We talked about it a little bit in the other ed puzzle, and your other assignment was for it, but we're going to be trying to get equations in slope intercept form, because slope intercept form is the most useful form, right? If it asks you to do standard form, you can always translate it to standard form, but we like y equals mx plus b form, right? Because it's useful. And we can take the most base things, such as any 2 points on a line, and we can write an equation for that line. So given any 2 random points, I'm just going to make them up. I'm going to go, okay, let's go with 1, 4. That's a 4. And -3, -2, right? Those are my points. I could have chosen any points I wanted. The next time you guys can choose the points for me on the second one. What we're going to do when we're given 2 points, the first thing that you want to do is find the slope of the 2 points. Does anyone remember the formula for slope? Starts with m equals. Exactly, person who didn't actually answer me. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? We're saying the difference in the y's over the difference in the x's, the rise over the run. So if I'm using these 2 points right here, I can name either one x1, y1. So I'll make this x1, y1. I'll make this x2, y2. I could have made this x1, y1 and this x2, y2. Doesn't really matter. It's arbitrary, right? I'm going to get the same slope either way. I just can't mix them up. If this is x1, this has to be y1. Can't be y2. So we're going to look at it. We're going to find the slope. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this is just plugging in numbers, right? y2 is -2 minus y1, which is 4. x2 is -3 minus x1, which is just 1. So we have -2 minus 4 is -6. -3 minus 1 is -4. This is going to become positive because I have a negative over a negative. And I'm going to reduce the fraction, and I am going to get 3 halves, right? 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Negative over negative is a positive. So I know now I have a slope of 3 halves. Our next step, plug slope and 1 point into, get this, slope and point into the point slope formula. Crazy that we would call it that. It is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. How does that play out? Well, I've got a slope, right? And I have 2 points. I can choose either one of those 2 points. So I've got my y minus y1. I'm just going to use these for x1 and y1. I've already labeled them that. So y1 is 4, so I have y minus 4 equals m. M is my slope, 3/2, times the quantity x minus x1. x1 is just 1, right? I don't like this one because my slope is a fraction because I just made these points up, but it's still going to work out okay, right? It's just going to be a little harder math because I got to deal with fractions. Then we're going to solve for y, right? We want y to be isolated on one side of the equal sign. What we're trying to figure out is what y equals, because when we solve for y, it becomes slope-intercept form. And then we can work with it. We can graph it. We can find points, right? So the first thing we have to do is go y minus 4 equals, and we have to distribute 3/2 times x. It's just 3/2 x times 3/2. 3/2 times -1 is negative 3/2. And I'm almost there, but I still have this minus 4 to contend with because I don't care what y minus 4 equals. I want to know what y equals. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add 4 here. And I'm going to add 4 here. Now, this, I just have to deal with the fraction, right? Which means I have to find a common denominator. This is going to stay the same, this 3/2 x. This is going to be, well, minus 3 plus 4. That's like, I need a common denominator of 2. So 4 times 2 is 8. So I'm going to go plus 8/2. That's the same as saying 4, isn't it? Right? And that is going to give me plus 5/2. Now, I just made up numbers, which was why we got a fractional answer, but it still works. I still know now that my y-intercept is at 5/2 and my slope is 3/2, which means I'd go up 3 and then to the positive side 2. But that's all we have to do to write the equation from 2 points on a graph. I'm going to show you another example. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to follow the same rules. We're going to change colors because I'm a little bored now with this color. I don't know, why did that go purple? That's like my blue pen. That's supposed to be blue. So we're going to do it again. I'm going to say we're going to write. Oh man, it's fighting back. I don't know why it won't let me do that. We'll just cross it out. Write the equation of the line. What if it says in standard form? In standard form. I'll show you how to do that. We're going to just have one more step, right? Given 2 points. So let's come up with 2 points. We have 4, 2, and I don't know, 5, 7. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Any 2 points will work, right? Our first step is going to be to find the slope. What is our m? Our m is y equals y, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we can name either of these that. We can make this x1, y1, and this x2, y2, because it's arbitrary. I can choose it myself. So we're going to go y2. Well, that's 7 minus y1. That's 2. Over x2, which is 5, minus x1, which is 4, which is going to give me 5 over 1, which is just 5. So my slope is 5. My next step, point slope formula, right? So we're going to plug it into y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. What does that look like? Y minus y1, well, that's just y minus 2 equals m. What's my m? 5. Times x minus x1. x1 is just 4. And then we're going to solve for y. Our next step, if you remember, was solve for y. Gives us our slope-intercept form, right? So I'm going to leave my y minus 2 alone for a second, and I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to distribute. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. Now we can deal with this. We want to get rid of whatever's attached to the y. Right now it's minus 2, so we're going to add 2 to both sides. And I get y equals 5x minus 18. And this gives us our slope-intercept form, which is the form I prefer, right? But we asked for standard form. And if you remember from the last video or lesson, standard form is ax plus by equals c, right? Which means I need to move my x term over. And I'm going to start by subtracting 5x from both sides. And I get minus 5x plus y equals negative 18. And I would love to say that that is perfect, but our a has to be greater than 1 or greater than 1. A has to be greater than or equal to 1. I don't know why. It's the rule y doesn't have to be positive, but for some reason x does. So if I multiply everything by negative 1, it just changes the sign of everything. So I wind up with 5x minus y equals 18. And that is our standard form. I don't know if any of your homework assignments are going to ask you for standard form, but I know in the first part you were going from standard to slope intercept, and this just takes you the other way. So I wanted to make sure that you saw how to do that. If you have any questions about this, now's a good time to ask. Was everybody able to follow along on that? I know this is Algebra 1 stuff that we're repeating, but I know you haven't done Algebra 1 for a while. Kind of got it? All right. Well, I'm going to post the video so that you guys can go back and go through the problems as you choose. It really helps to like take notes when you watch it or while we were doing it. But I'm going to stop the recording right now, and you guys will have access to it in PowerSchool within a few minutes of when we get out of class.